The age of autonomous warfare has arrived. January 2026. Chinese state television broadcasts footage that changes everything. Robot dogs moving in formation with soldiers, drone swarms executing coordinated strikes, and something called Atlas, a system that coordinates it all in real time. This isn't simulation footage. This is operational deployment. The autonomous warfare revolution isn't coming. It's here, and the implications are terrifying. The Pentagon is scrambling, not because China has autonomous weapons, everyone saw that coming, but because of how quickly they've deployed them at scale. While Western militaries debated ethics committees and testing protocols, China built the infrastructure for autonomous warfare. They didn't just develop the technology, they created the entire ecosystem to support it. That ecosystem changes everything about how wars will be fought. The Ghost Fleet concept emerged from DARPA in 2018. Unmanned surface vessels operating autonomously for months at a time. Submarine hunting, mine clearance, intelligence gathering. The promise was simple: replace expensive manned ships with cheap autonomous platforms. Lose one, build another. No families to notify. No political cost. The U.S. Navy commissioned its first Ghost Fleet vessels in 2023. Sea Hunter and Seahawk. 132-foot trimaran hulls, packed with sensors and AI systems. They performed exactly as advertised during Pacific exercises. Autonomous navigation, target tracking, coordinated operations with manned vessels. Then came the vulnerability assessments. Every autonomous system has the same fundamental problem. It needs to communicate with command centers, with other platforms, with satellites. Those communication links are attack surfaces, and in contested waters near peer adversaries, those links become liabilities. The more autonomous your fleet, the more vulnerable it becomes to electronic warfare. China watched these exercises carefully. They drew different conclusions. If communication is the weakness, don't rely on it. Build systems that operate independently. Make decisions locally. Coordinate through pre-programmed behaviors, not constant communication. That's what Atlas represents. Boston Dynamics spent years perfecting Spot, the robot dog. Impressive engineering, remarkable mobility, perfect for inspection tasks and surveillance in controlled environments. Then the patents expired. Chinese manufacturers reverse-engineered everything. They didn't just copy Spot. They optimized it for mass production. The cost differential is staggering. One Spot costs around $75,000. Chinese equivalents, under $10,000. Same mobility, same sensor packages. 1/7 the price. That cost advantage enables deployment at scale that Boston Dynamics never imagined. But the real innovation isn't the hardware, it's the integration. Western militaries treat autonomous systems as individual platforms. Each robot dog is a separate unit. Each drone is a discrete asset. Coordination happens through human operators and communication networks. It's a fundamentally centralized model. China built something different. They created swarm intelligence architecture. Individual units are cheap and expendable, but collectively they exhibit emergent behavior. One robot dog spots a target. Others automatically adjust their patrol patterns. No communication required, just pre-programmed responses to observed behaviors. This is biological warfare translated to machines. How ant colonies operate. How bird flocks move. Individual ants are stupid. The colony is intelligent. Individual drones are simple. The swarm is sophisticated. And swarms are incredibly difficult to counter. Traditional air defense systems are designed for traditional threats. Missiles, aircraft. Identifiable targets moving at predictable speeds. Radar tracks them. Fire control systems calculate intercept solutions. Missiles launch. It's physics and mathematics. Drone swarms break that model. Hundreds of small targets, erratic flight paths, coordinated but unpredictable. Radar gets overwhelmed. Fire control systems can't prioritize. By the time you've engaged 10 drones, 50 more have penetrated your defensive perimeter. The economic calculus is devastating. Each interceptor missile costs millions. Each attacking drone costs thousands. The attacker can sustain losses indefinitely. The defender goes bankrupt. Israel discovered this in 2024. Hezbollah launched coordinated drone swarms against northern settlements. Not sophisticated military drones. Commercial quadcopters modified to carry explosives. Iron Dome performed flawlessly against rockets. Against drone swarms? Completely ineffective. Wrong threat model. China studied that engagement intensely. They understood the implications. Autonomous swarms don't just challenge air defenses. They make traditional military advantages obsolete. Your billion-dollar destroyer? Vulnerable to $10 million worth of autonomous boats. Your fighter jets? Overwhelmed by drone swarms that cost less than the missiles you'd use to shoot them down. This is the revolution. Not that machines can fight, that cheap machines can defeat expensive ones. The Atlas system coordinates all of it, not through constant communication, through distributed decision-making. Each autonomous unit has local awareness. It knows its mission parameters. It knows how to recognize other units in the network. It knows how to adapt to changing conditions. When Atlas deploys, it doesn't command. It orchestrates, like a conductor with an orchestra. Individual musicians read their own sheet music. The conductor ensures they play together. Atlas ensures autonomous units operate coherently without centralized control. This architecture solves the communication vulnerability. Jam the signals? Units keep operating. Take out the command center? The swarm continues its mission. Electronic warfare that would cripple Western autonomous systems barely degrades Chinese ones. The Pentagon's response has been predictable. Increase budgets for counter-drone systems. Develop AI-powered defensive networks. Invest in electronic warfare capabilities. All reasonable responses. All missing the fundamental problem. You can't outspend an adversary when their cost structure is 10 times more efficient. You can't outdevelop them when they're willing to deploy systems you're still testing. You can't maintain technological superiority when they're iterating faster. This is the lesson from every technological revolution in warfare. The machine gun didn't just kill soldiers faster, it made cavalry obsolete. The aircraft carrier didn't just project power further, it made battleships irrelevant. Autonomous warfare doesn't just change tactics, it inverts the entire cost structure of military conflict. And China recognized this before anyone else. The training infrastructure reveals how seriously they're taking this. Massive facilities in Inner Mongolia dedicated to autonomous warfare scenarios, not simulation centers, actual proving grounds where thousands of autonomous units operate simultaneously. Robot dogs navigating urban terrain, drone swarms coordinating strikes, all feeding data back to Atlas. This is the other advantage. You need data to train AI systems. Lots of data. Real-world data from actual operations. Not synthetic data from simulations. Data from machines operating in chaotic environments, making decisions, succeeding and failing. Every Western autonomous system is data-starved. Ethical concerns limit testing. Regulatory frameworks restrict deployment. Public scrutiny constrains experimentation. The data sets are small and sanitized. China has no such constraints. Their autonomous systems operate in Xinjiang, in Tibet, in disputed border regions with India. Thousands of hours of operational data, real decisions in real environments. All of it flows back to training pipelines. The AI systems learn faster because they have more data. They perform better because they've encountered more scenarios. The feedback loop accelerates their development while Western systems remain theoretical. This is how you win an AI arms race, not through better algorithms, through better data. The January 2026 broadcast wasn't just propaganda, it was a signal. China demonstrating operational capability, showing the world they've moved beyond development into deployment, establishing facts on the ground before anyone can respond. And it worked. The international response was confusion. Western analysts debating whether the footage was real, defense officials scrambling to assess capabilities, politicians demanding explanations for the intelligence failure. Meanwhile, China continued deploying more autonomous units, more training data, more operational experience, the gap widening daily. The strategic implications are profound. Autonomous warfare favors the attacker. Swarms can mass quickly and strike before defenses adapt. The defender needs to protect everything. The attacker can probe for weaknesses and exploit them. This inverts traditional military calculations. Historically, defense was easier than offense. Fortifications, interior lines, home territory advantage. Autonomous warfare eliminates most of those advantages. Your fortifications mean nothing against drone swarms. Your interior lines are irrelevant when attackers deploy from containers. Your home territory provides no advantage against machines that don't need supply lines. The nuclear deterrence model assumed mutual vulnerability. You can destroy me, I can destroy you. Therefore, neither of us attacks. That logic depended on clearly attributable weapons and catastrophic consequences. Autonomous warfare undermines both assumptions. Attribution becomes murky. Who launched the drone swarm? Where did it come from? Was it state-sponsored or non-state actors? The fog of war thickens, and consequences become gradual. Not one catastrophic exchange. A series of escalating autonomous engagements, each individually below the threshold for major retaliation, collectively achieving strategic objectives. This is salami slicing with robots. Take small pieces, move quickly, establish facts before anyone responds. Autonomous systems are perfect for this strategy. Taiwan represents the ultimate test case. An amphibious invasion is the most difficult military operation. Massive logistics, vulnerable transports, contested waters. Historically, the defender has enormous advantages. Autonomous warfare changes the calculation. Imagine the scenario. Thousands of autonomous boats launching from mainland ports, not transporting troops, just moving toward Taiwan. Some carry sensors, some carry weapons, some are decoys, all coordinating through swarm intelligence. Taiwan's navy engages, sinks dozens, hundreds. Doesn't matter. Thousands more keep coming. The economic exchange favors the attacker. Each destroyed boat costs less than the missile that killed it. Taiwan runs out of interceptors before China runs out of boats. Meanwhile, drone swarms saturate air defenses, not military drones, cheap commercial platforms, overwhelming through numbers. By the time they're all engaged, actual military aircraft have air superiority. Robot dogs deploy from the autonomous boats that survive. Not in the first wave, in the 20th wave. After defenses are exhausted, they establish beachheads, hold positions, wait for human forces to arrive. The entire operation happens faster than international response can mobilize. Fait accompli achieved through autonomous systems that don't need traditional logistics. No massive troop buildup that satellites can detect. No vulnerable supply lines that submarines can interdict. Just swarms of cheap autonomous platforms, overwhelming defenses through attrition. This is the nightmare scenario, not because it's inevitable, because it's possible. And possibility changes deterrence calculations. If China believes autonomous warfare gives them a viable path to Taiwan, the strategic stability of the region collapses. The US has no good response. Commit to defending Taiwan with conventional forces? You're fighting on China's terms with their cost structure. Threaten nuclear escalation? Over autonomous boats and robot dogs? The threat lacks credibility. Economic sanctions? China has spent decades building resilience against that scenario. Diplomatic isolation? They've established enough international partnerships to weather it. The toolkit of deterrence doesn't work against an adversary willing to test boundaries with autonomous systems. This is why the January 2026 broadcast matters. Not because it revealed new technology, because it revealed intent. China signaling they're willing to deploy autonomous warfare at scale, establishing operational capability, daring others to respond. And the response has been inadequate. More studies, more committees, more debates about ethical frameworks. Meanwhile, the operational gap widens. China accumulates data, refines systems, expands deployment. The autonomous warfare revolution is here. The question isn't whether it will reshape conflict. It's whether Western militaries can adapt before the strategic balance shifts irreversibly. Every day of hesitation is another day of Chinese operational experience, another training cycle for their AI systems, another iteration of their swarm intelligence. The window for response is closing, not because the technology is impossible to match, because the willingness to deploy it at scale requires different institutional structures, different risk tolerance, different strategic culture. China has all three. The West is still debating. And in warfare, speed matters more than perfection. The side that deploys first learns first. The side that learns first adapts first. The side that adapts first wins. The Taiwan Strait, where every assumption about deterrence, escalation, and military advantage gets tested against autonomous swarms.